Live from the Spill Studios, located behind a liquor store off the I-35 interchange, it's time once again for a couple of cold ones with Corey and Carla.
Yes, a day late, but here nevertheless.
A dollar short as always.
Always.
Well, I was reeling from the death of Billy Mays. It just it hit me so hard because I don't know how I'm going to be able to clean my house now. I guess I'm only going to have to. We're going to have to clean everything with a ShamWow.
It's like I was saying earlier, like who you going to buy shit from that doesn't work? So, because a lot of people say that what is it, OxyClean?
A lot of that stuff.
Yeah, a lot of that. They say that shit was
he was a pitchman.
Soap and water. Yeah, and that's what a pitchman does. Sell you stuff that you don't need, probably doesn't even work, but you know what? You buy it. Kind of like what we do with this show. So, man, we just got through doing 6 recordings.
No, 5. This is our 6th.
This is our 6th one.
You guys are in for a treat this week. We had everyone for fucking everything.
Oh, yeah. Except the co-host, which he's here for one thing, Ice Age 3. But other than that, all of us are here for a lot of movies.
We did Moon. We did Hurt Locker. We did Whatever It Takes.
A lot of audio reviews, and a lot of stuff here. And
then, of course, Public Enemies.
That's right.
It just seems like I know it is. It seems so long ago because it was like 3 hours ago. We've had a long night.
I remember half.
So we're gonna be fucking loopy as shit tonight, folks.
And
you're in for a treat.
Yeah, they weren't really bad reviews either. I mean, I think by the time we got to Whatever Works, I was just exhausted, and I was like, whatever does.
Whatever works. That's what it is. Whatever it takes. It's like, the Shane West movie. No, fuck.
By that time I got to that point, I was just like, what can I say? It was Woody Allen. I like it. Man, you want me to say? But anyway,
you remember that movie, Whatever It Takes, with James Franco and Shane West from like 1998.
What did they do? What happened in it? See, I guess it answers your question right there.
Myself.
No, I
remember
don't.
That it was one of those romantic comedies where the guy is in love with a hot girl, but really should end up with her best friend, with his best friend who's a girl.
If I don't remember that, I'm sure I've seen it in some other movie somewhere.
Well, yeah, but
in other words,
so
no,
whatever works. Yeah, there we go.
So since we were starting late tonight, and since we're a day late also, let's go ahead and jump into this top 5 here.
The top 5 brought to you by Spill.
Doo-wah. so mellow. The Quiet Storm with Carla.
I like to call it Smello.
I don't want to smell what you got. So
you sure? I'll show it to you.
Number 5.
Number 5.
My Sister's Keeper. 12.4 million.
Wow, that actually hit the top 5?
It did hit the top 5.
And it's kind of fun. It made 12.4 million?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, kind of a steep drop there compared to the number 1 film this week, but we'll be getting to that momentarily.
Everything is kind of a steep drop compared to this movie. Yeah. But My Sister's Keeper, that's the one with Cameron Diaz and Abigail Breslin, the cancer movie.
It's the bald head cancer movie. It's the cancer girl movie.
You ain't going to go that far, man. The bald-headed cancer movie.
Dude,
I'm joking, man.
One of the big things they show in the trailer is fucking Cameron Diaz shaving her head.
Dude, I'm kidding.
That woman will do anything for a role these days.
I thought they were all wearing
shaved her head. She had a star with Ashton Kutcher. I mean, she'll do anything.
That's why I thought they were all wearing ball caps about the joke shop in there. You mean it's cancer? I thought it was a comedy. Number 4.
Number 4. Up. Awesome. Up is still there, man. Can you believe it?
4, man. That movie has made $250 million, man.
It has dominated June, baby.
Brought in $13.1 million this weekend. Now, needless to say, no matter what steep drop this movie makes, people are very happy with its performance.
Oh, yeah.
Which brings us to another movie that people are very happy about.
Number 3 film of the week.
Which would be The Hangover. That brought
Hangover,
in
baby.
$17 million, man, this weekend. That movie has made $183 million so far. Not bad for a $35 million movie with no major stars in it.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, no, I love that movie.
Oh, Christ. Dude, we're already at number 2.
Already at number 2.
Oh, Jesus, what are we going to do?
That means there's something there that you don't want to be there.
Number 2.
The Proposal.
The Proposal. Yeah, all right.
Not bad. I didn't see it, but you guys said it was okay.
You guys, I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it. That's right. Those guys.
The Cuddle Twins.
The Cuddle Twins.
We're going to go back home and cuddle with comic books. You guys stay here and record your little show.
The Spoonie Boys.
Yeah.
But that movie has brought in $69 million. Not bad, man. Not bad for a romantic comedy that really on our site, everybody says, I didn't even know this movie existed before you said something. It came out of nowhere, really.
But it's done well. I mean, hey, at least it either shows us that Ryan Reynolds is actually finally a fucking draw, or that Sandra Bullock still has it.
I say both. Guys love Ryan Reynolds. Girls love Ryan Reynolds.
For you, women are a fine wine. They get better with age.
They should do. And Sandra Bullock's getting up there, boy. Only matter of time. Number one.
Oh, fuck. Jesus Christ, we're already here.
We're here.
The number one movie of the week.
Yeah, baby.
The big surprise. The stunner. The shocker.
Revenge of the Fallen. That movie made...
Revenge of the Froylaven. A lady. Transformers.
Pretty robot. This movie made $109 million over the weekend, man.
Grand total, though.
Grand total, I think, was like 113, something like that. What was it?
It's like almost. Is
it 100? Are you?
No, it's made $200 million since it's
open. Are we talking about worldwide though?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I heard. No, I did hear that $200 million worldwide. Yeah. Total gross is 200. A flat, pretty much $200 million. If you want to count like that, rounded up 200.1.
So domestic was 113.
It might because it would open up on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, it did.
So it could have probably been like around that area. And worldwide is a solid 200 million, and this weekend brought in 109.
Yeah, it's breaking all sorts of records, including
the one you mentioned too. I didn't hear about that.
The worst reviewed, highest grossing film of all time.
Really, the worst reviewed? Huh?
Yeah, it's got 20% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which is not the worst reviewed movie, but it is the worst reviewed movie for the highest grossing.
Things, other movies that have the other two films this summer that have ranked that score or ranked in that ballpark are Year One and Land of the Lost.
Really?
Yeah, with Land of the Lost being the film that's that coupled with Drag Me to Hell are being considered, what's dragging down Universal. Universal needs a hit.
Man, because Land of the Lost, I'm not going to make a joke here. That movie just, because it's so easy to make some kind of Land of the Lost joke, but that movie came and went.
It disappeared.
It disappeared. That shit, you got movies like just kind of hanging out in the top 10, maybe went a little bit lower, like Star Trek is still there, Night at the Museum, Away We Go. I mean, Land of the Lost is just gone.
It made it's made $44 million, and it had a $100 million budget.
Yeah, after this weekend, $47 million. And I think the lowest rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes is X versus Sever. I think the Antonio Banderas.
No, X versus Sever isn't the lowest rated movie of all time. It's down there.
But
I think it had is it actually zero? I thought at one point it was 3%.
It might have been. The last thing I heard was that it was a straight 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That is a terrible, terrible movie.
Oh yeah, no, I saw it and I was like, "Wow, man, this movie's shitty." But action people love it, and the movie
it's so pretty.
That movie like no critics liked it, no one went to see it, and I was like, "Yeah, that movie deserves."
I've watched it twice. I watched it once.
Twice? What the hell you doing?
I watched it once, and it was terrible. And then I turned off the volume and just watched how pretty it was.
Is it good looking?
It's a good looking film. I mean, that's the thing is visually it was pretty.
I heard it's based off a video game.
Yeah, and it's one of the worst video game movies of all time. It's fucking awful.
What video game was it? Because I don't remember. I remember because at the time Porno Chris was looking forward to it because he loved the video game. And I was
now you're mentioning Porno Chris and nobody knows who Porno Chris is.
Well, they know that. Okay, Porno Chris is a friend of ours from the Real Deal days. We'll get into another show where we called him Porno Chris. Maybe this one.
We don't have
ain't got anything to do.
We're almost done with the top 5 right now, and I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, we're 2 minutes into this fucking thing.
Oh yeah, let me look at how much time we got, and it's like, oh shit, boy.
Oh, that's gonna be painful.
Yeah, no, and I would bring up some things, but we covered like the major things that happened this week in 2 podcasts already. So.
Yeah, no, I mean we've gotten to the end of our rope, and we're like, oh, this is another one where we skate by.
Yeah. No, there's plenty of email there. There's what was that other thing? Yeah, we're gonna talk about Transformers being the lowest rated movie.
That's what we're talking about now.
But we just did that, and it's like, fuck, there ain't no more to talk about.
Well, it's I mean, the critics hate it, but apparently it's Paramount's polling numbers. People say that the movie's as good or better than the original. 91% of people polled.
Well, that's because people have the fever right now. You know, people anticipated this film. They don't want to tell themselves that this movie is shitty.
We'll see how it pans out.
I mean, and look, it's one of those movies where the audience is asked they asked for less. I'm not going to criticize anybody who likes that movie. If you liked it, you liked it. But I myself, I saw the potential to make a better Transformers movie, even better than what the first one did. And I'm just looking at this, I'm like saying, what a waste, man.
Yeah, I wanted to like this so bad, and it just hurt. I mean, I loved the first one. I really had a lot of fun with that. And then this one, it was just,
yeah, no, it's
agony.
No. When I see the potential, I'm not one of those people who's going to make an excuse. I hate the excuses of, what did you expect? It was just robots beating each other up. And like, no, I expected more than that. All right? I don't ever go into, unless a movie, if I'm going to see a B movie or something that's low budget, maybe I could use that excuse and say, hey, you know what? This movie didn't ask for much, but this is $100 million film.
Interestingly enough, after we did our review and everything, I had posted my review on Ain't It Cool News, and one of the writers came in to answer questions in the talkback. And so it was really interesting because here he was answering questions and criticism from a bunch of people about what was going on. And from everything that's been cobbled together between that and what everyone's talked about, apparently this is the biggest casualty we will see from the strike. That what happened was Alex Kurtzman and Bob Orci, who you guys know as guys who wrote on the Star Trek movie and who work on Lost and produce Fringe, they turned in a treatment, which is generally a 10 to 20 page description of basic story elements and maybe some key scenes and things like that. And they turned that into Michael Bay about 3 days before the strike happened. And Michael Bay, not able to do anything, but having this deadline for his movie, went in and started doing animatics for the film and started outlining scenes. And they were doing animation and getting things set up. And then the strike ended and they brought the guys back in and said, here's what we have. Let's link this together into a movie. And so they literally slapped this movie together. Things like Mudflap and Skids, they didn't write that stuff. They wrote some of those lines, but they weren't written the way it came out. That was something,
in other words?
That was something that was done inside of the that was Michael Bay and the voice actors saying, how can we do this? How can we make this fun? How can we appeal to kids? And hey, you know what? Let's make them hip and street smart. And they just didn't think that it could come out offensive like that, and it sure enough it did.
No, I've been saying the whole time, and I said this when co-host and I recorded Let's Do This. I don't think that there was people use that word racist. That word is nitroglycerin. It blows up in your face, and I mean, it's just it's
insensitive is a better word.
Well, no, that is what I said. I said, well, I even said ignorant. I mean, it was just kind of like. You had no clue that what you were doing because it is ignorance. I mean, you took something that you thought was funny and you read it. You wrote, if you can even say wrote, you wrote it lazily, shorthand, and it came out to like people who are dumb and speaking Ebonics. That's funny, and pretty much you're saying like dumb black humor is funny. And I don't think it was like I don't think Michael Bay was saying I think black people are stupid and this is my attack on them by using these robots.
No, I think probably what it was the idea was to make them goofy and kind of stupid to begin with,
and to make them edgy by having some urban appeal.
Yeah, but that came later, and he never put it together that maybe people might find that offensive.
Yeah, and
nobody made a big stink over the stuff he did in Transformers 1. But then again, like I never caught that stuff. But, like people pointed it out. They're like, he says "mammy." I'm like, really? He did?
Well, there are points where like the whole thing of I don't even think it was anything racial. It's just like, oh, he's street and therefore he has to break dance. So that came out of nowhere, and that's why these two characters are offensive because they don't have any backstory for the way they behave. It really is. People who talk dumb and are urban kids, and usually those characterizations are meant for urban black people. That's just funny, just as it is. It comes out of nowhere. Now, if they explained that these characters maybe landed in the ghetto or something, and even then it would have been kind of barely skating by, but it would have been some backstory. Or they went onto a web page that hosted a lot of hip hop music. They tapped into a radio station that played hip hop music. Maybe then you'd like, oh, there's a reason for it, but this was just out of nowhere. That's offensive.
And it's one of those things where had they at least been cool, it would have been forgivable, like where okay, they're kind of obnoxious and they're kind of they're obviously the hip hop characters, but at least they beat ass and they do all sorts of cool
take
stuff.
the jokes away and take away the exaggerated features.
Yeah, at least but they're Jar Jar. They're completely ineffective. They're just there for comic relief, and that's where it becomes really insensitive.
And I don't think anybody would have said anything about them even talking Ebonics and acting dumb if their facial features had not been so blatantly
The gold tooth
black.
was really the, oh my God, they're serious about this.
Well, if you look at it, they have sort of big lips, broad noses, and I'm looking at that and I'm like thinking those are meant to be sort of a caricature of black faces.
you know what? That's where I have to draw the line. I didn't totally agree with that. People have mentioned the simian features, and I see it, but by the same token, I look at it, and when you hear Michael Bay go, we were trying to entertain kids, there's also look like goofy, they got the guy who voices SpongeBob SquarePants, for Christ's sake. Those look like SpongeBob SquarePants faces.
But you know something? I don't think. Well, Tom Kenny did the voice. They didn't bring over the animated.
No, I
artist to
know,
do that.
but when if you think, Michael Bay overseeing it and wanting to appeal to kids and trying to tap into that whole SpongeBob thing and thinking along those lines, I could see where those could be easily drawn from that line of thinking without saying, you know what, let's make them look like monkeys.
I wish that I would like to think that somebody who helms a big budget movie like this would be smart enough to like make the connection, because anybody would say, something, this could be controversial. They talk in Ebonics. One of them has a gold tooth. They look like monkeys. This could be crossing the line because people have always associated black people with. There's a racial stereotype of black people looking like monkeys. And anybody who's smart enough would have been like, these things are too close together for us to put them all in one package. And that's what I mean by ignorant. I just don't. I don't think they thought this out. And I wonder why somebody who like Michael Bay can't figure something like that out.
Well, this goes back to the classic, concept that nobody lost money underestimating the intelligence of Americans. It's God, they made a lot of money doing this. Of course, the thing is, everybody keeps pointing out, well, it was bad, but it made money. It's like, well, yeah, but let's see how it goes. I mean, the Matrix sequels made money. How are they remembered? Are they remembered as huge blockbusters and fuck you guys because we made money anyway? No, we remember them as being, mediocre or bad movies.
Yeah, and let's not forget the fact that this is a sequel in a franchise, and it was poised to be big no matter what. I mean, before we even knew about these characters, people already lining up to see this film. So, big deal if it made money. You're right. There's a lot of things that make money. It doesn't make it good.
Yeah.
Shit, Star Wars or the prequels made a lot of money.
I'm really curious to see what its drop-off is like next week.
Well, yeah, because it goes up against something like Ice Age 3. And regardless of what we think about Ice Age 3, it's still... That's another movie where it has a locked-in audience. It's going to do huge numbers. So I would like to see how it takes a dent into Transformers 2.
Well, and you always have a big drop-off after a huge weekend like that.
Yeah,
the question is how big of a drop-off do you have? I'm curious because I think maybe everybody who wanted to really see it went and saw it, and it might be a word-of-mouth drop-off here very shortly. But we'll see.
I'm curious about that, too, because as much as I did not like the movie, you never know. I mean, this movie could be huge next week.
It could, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was. I won't know. I won't be anywhere near a movie theater next week. Thank God.
That's right. You're going to be
in Minneapolis.
You're going to be
sunny
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
You're going to be making toast, right?
I'll be eating toast at House of Toast, drinking coffee. That's one of the other things. I didn't even get to mention that. My favorite thing about Convergence, there is a room called COF2E2. And the people who work at that are my heroes. What COF2E2 is it's
sounds like a morning after pill. What?
It's coffee.
Oh, is that the chemical makeup of coffee?
E2. So it's 2 F's and 2 E's. Coffee. What it is it's a 24-hour coffee bar that is manned by actual baristas. Yeah, no. So for those of you that aren't fully aware, as of Wednesday, I'm going to be up in Minneapolis at this great geek convention.
Hanging out with Prince.
No, Prince doesn't come to the
Oh,
convention.
he doesn't? Oh,
No.
so I thought he was a special guest playing.
No, but there's going to be a lot of cool people there. And I'm actually doing a bunch of panels. So if you've ever wanted to meet Carlisle or see me speak live and be able to ask me questions rather than having Corey select your emails, I'm actually going to be up there doing some really cool panels on stuff. So
Carlisle's going to be there doing some wood paneling, and if you
Some
want to come
wood
up and talk to him
paneling.
while he's working, he'll be
no,
happy to
there's
answer your
panels like The Joy of Bad Movies, and then there's one on the world of Tarantino, ramping up to his new release later this year, and
questions. Glorious Bastards, right?
and there's a couple others. I'm blanking right
Is he
now
gonna
on
be
the
there?
actual titles. Tarantino, no, but no,
You
it'll be a
wanna
lot of
come
fun.
make toast, man, Tarantino?
It's a dude. You laugh about the toast. House of Toast is one of the highlights of the fest. I mean, it's of the convention.
It's so excited, got you throwing bottles across
I'm
the room,
kicking
man.
bottles everywhere. No, it's you go with. They've got like 100 different things to put on toast, and you get to pick any 3, and you start experimenting with stuff. It's I want some olive oil and SpaghettiOs and some basil, and ooh, that's really good. And now I'm gonna have some butter and some cinnamon and some honey.
You know what? I would normally laugh at that, but you're right. I've been to a couple of places where that's their specialty, something that you would never know.
Yeah.
They got a place in New York where it's all rice pudding. I forgot the name of it, but that the scene in what was it? Hitch.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Hitch where he takes Eva Mendes out, and one of the spots at the end is this rice place, and I've been to it. And it's like they have fucking rice pudding out the ass there. I mean, and none doesn't make it taste too good the way I'm describing it, but yeah, you never thought they'd have that many choices in rice pudding. They got a place where they take so many different variations of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah.
I made peanut butter sandwiches.
Well, and when you're walking around and you're doing convention type things, you're like, I could really use a snack, but I'm not like hungry. You go and you grab some toast.
I think rice out the ass is one of the flavors that they have. Now that I think about it,
Rice out the ass.
No,
Well, it is New York.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've got weird shit for
They
everybody.
got rat flavored rice pudding. No, so now do they have French toast? I mean, they got to have.
No. It's literally it's a hotel room that they've got lots of toasters going and lots of people who volunteer to put stuff on toast.
Oh, so they just put things on toast.
They just put things on toast.
So it's like what my dad used to make called shit on a shingle.
Yes.
Which is where they take cream beef and look like somebody shit on a piece of bread.
And that's because your dad clearly was in the military. At some point in time.
Exactly.
Because that's breakfast in the military.
At this place, you make it sound like they have so many things they could probably get shit on some bread.
That's the idea. Is they every year they're trying to come up with new stuff. There's one person who makes this thing called Atomic Death, and it's like the hottest stuff known to man. It's a special concoction that they keep in the freezer. It was made 10 years ago from the way the story goes, and every year they pull it out to thaw it out and serve it again, and then put it back into deep freeze.
I feel weird about it. Anytime somebody describes a food that they made as a concoction, I get nervous about it.
That's why I've never had it. I know it only by reputation. I go in for I'm very tame when it comes to that. It's like, butter, cinnamon, and sugar, or, I've done the SpaghettiOs, and SpaghettiOs is, it's
SpaghettiOs on toast?
Yeah, it's SpaghettiOs on toast.
That
You add
sounds
some
pretty
basil
good. Yeah,
and some, olive oil, and that's fucking
Is there
tasty.
anything that just, they have the toast surprise, where they have something on toast and you do not know what that shit is, and either you don't eat it, but there's people who swear that it is the greatest thing. You got to try it.
Yeah, they've got some of those.
Probably that concoction you're talking about.
Yeah,
right
they've got
there.
stuff like that, and but there's so much more than COF2E2 and House of Toast. There's all sorts of crazy room parties. I'm hoping the Minnesota Browncoats do another Serenity.
That brown coat shit again.
Dude,
I'm not going in any room with anybody called the brown coats.
Dude, they've got a girl who plays violin playing the songs of the Firefly TV series. That's just fucking pimp. And they have sing-alongs and it's, you get together with 20 people and you're drinking and singing The Man They Call Jane, and it's and you're in a room that's decorated like the hold of the Serenity, and it's fucking awesome. And then you go in and there's a Doctor Who room, and there's and the thing is, and Corey, this is where I'm going to connect with you now, man, because I've told you about the toast, I've told you about the coffee, I've told you about the drinking.
Are we getting to the orgies now?
There are nerd girls. There are nerd girls everywhere, and there are nerd girls dressed up as their favorite nerdy things, and they want to sit there and talk to you about nerdy things, and that's what they want to do.
I don't want to talk. At my convention, I'm in a room with a girl with a violin, but we're not playing anything with that violin. We doing other things.
Later.
Oh, okay. All right. You know what? Maybe I'm actually going out of town myself this weekend, but maybe I'll swing by and see what this nerd girl thing is about.
Oh man, Minnesota nerd girls, man. Oh,
I'll put on my best Green Lantern outfit. You know, brush up on my
oh,
comic
so
book
you'll
lore.
be Jon Stewart.
The Black Green Lantern, yes.
Yeah.
I'll go there and I'll read up, Wikipedia Green Lantern a little bit, so I think I know what I'm talking about, because I only need.
Oh no! It doesn't work that way. Like, see, this is the problem we've had, where we've talked to you before, and how these nerd girls are stuck up bitches. And it's because you need to. The key to talking to a nerd girl is to know a lot about something. You know a lot about plenty of things. See, you just need to. You need to sell your. When people are like, "What's your kink?" Your kink's animation, man.
Oh, so I need.
You're you're an animation nerd, and so what you need to do is talk animation. And when you go into the Peanuts and people like Peanuts, it's like, let me tell you about the Peanuts, and you explain why everyone should respect and love Charles Schultz. Then it's like, okay, he's one of us.
So then I'm in a room with a girl, and before the night's over, she's like, before we get started, could you put on this Snoopy costume for me?
No, well, you get some of those people, but really, it's more about the making a connection, and then that can happen.
Okay,
now no. I mean,
do I need to be in costume?
What
still?
you would have to do is go. You should see my Gumby maneuver.
Oh, okay. All right. See, hey, you could be. Hey, could you? Maybe if I get there, can you be my wingman for like about 20 minutes?
I could be your wingman.
Okay. All right. Now, do I still need the Green Lantern costume?
Well, you need something. You need some kind of hook, because there's close to 4,000 people at this convention.
Okay. So what are you dressing up as now? Are you going in costume?
I am not.
Okay. So
I'm taking a costume with me. Just in case, and I might do a costume on Friday.
The emergency costume, like the
break in case emergency.
Exactly,
I want to have a costume, but it's my Halloween costume from last year, so it's
okay. What was your costume from last year?
Jesus.
That's right. Wait a minute. There was 1 year where you were the fairy godfather. That's what it was.
I was the fairy godfather 1 year, where I was dressed up in the suit with fairy wings.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. I'm
the fairy godfather. Yeah, that was several years ago.
All right. I guess. Because you look like Jesus every day.
Because I went with a girl who went as the fairy godmother, and I was the fairy godfather.
You like Jesus in a T-shirt to me every week. That's all. But
normally, but
short of hair maybe.
When you actually wear the crown of thorns and the robes, people love it, man. My favorite of all time was the girl who was dressed up as Juno insisted on getting a picture with me so we could have the whole virgin birth joke.
You're the only person I know that can pull off using Jesus to actually to pick up chicks.
Well, I
think I could probably do that too.
He was our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think Black Jesus is a major novelty. I think I could do that, like some sort of 70s Black hero.
Oh, you
Black
could totally
Jesus.
do Black Jesus, man.
Oh man, see, you're good to brainstorm with.
That's the other thing that you can do is you get to bring the blaxploitation love with you.
Oh man,
you're a big blaxploitation, and you can start dropping, Black Samson references, and that's the thing is you don't have to be a well-versed nerd. Like I am a dabbler. I have my nerdity spread
You dabble
out.
in the nerdum.
I've got my corners of nerddom that I'm down at. Like I'm big into miniature wargaming stuff like 40K, and I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons dork. But I dabble. I know my comic books. I know my Doctor Who. I know my Star Wars and my Star Trek. And I'm not hardcore in any of them, but I can navigate my way through a convention like that. But I've got my things that when people are like get down to brass tacks and I need to prove my worth, I can pull out the big time nerd and lay the trump card, and it's like, all right, he belongs here. So
I see.
And of course, I've got this thing that I know a little bit about movies. So
just a tad.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. When you dress up like Jesus, the effect is better, though.
And because Jesus watches a lot of movies. Oh my God,
that stigmata in your hands right there is awesome.
That's good for holding popcorn.
Why does it keep falling through?
Oh, why are we going to hell? Oh, but yeah. So if you're
going,
in Minneapolis
I'm here already.
Or in Minnesota, or any of the surrounding states, like one of my best friends, he lives in Des Moines, Iowa, and he drives up the 4-hour drive, right up 35 to go to the convention. And it's a lot of fun, and I'm just literally going to be there for a week, talking nerd stuff and getting silly drunk. So if that sounds like you're kind of a spill party, then
that sounds like your nerdy cup of tea with a side of shit on toast. Then please,
with shit on a shingle, man, dude, I cannot wait for House of Toast. You've got me all primed for House of Toast.
I got you primed for the House of Toast. Well, I've never had that effect on anybody before.
And COF2E2. Oh, God, I love that place, man.
No girl has ever told me, you have me primed for toast.
Oh,
but you never know. At this place, you never know. But I might have to make a Corey sandwich while I'm there.
See, I've just got so many good friends up there, and just so many great hardcore nerds that I can't wait to hang out with and have a good time with. That this is really going to be a killer week. I'm really excited. I'm very stoked to be headed up to.
Right,
and I hear it's been nice and cool up there. It's been raining a lot, so I'm hoping it rains while we're there. And I know it sucks for some of you guys up in Minneapolis, but I'm excited to get a little rain because, God damn, it's hot down here. I heard you guys talked about that last night.
Oh yeah, we did 104 yesterday, man, and the air conditioner wasn't working. And
Jesus.
Yeah, and we left the air conditioner on for a little while just to get some air going through, and then we cut it off, saying, you know what, if it's not working, let's just cut it off. And when we did that, seriously, it's like I'm not lying, it's like we got out of a swimming pool. And we were sweating so hard. I mean, I'm telling you, man, people fucking dying here. It ain't no joke.
Yeah, it was real hot. I was out yesterday, and I was just like, God damn, it's hot. My dogs who love hanging out outside. They like bug me, and they're like, "Come on, we want to go outside. I'm like, all right, but you're gonna come in like 2 minutes. No, we really want to go outside. I'm telling you, we want to go outside. I'm like, all right, and they go outside, and then like 2 minutes later, my dog Gossamer's pawing at the door. They're like, let me in. It's fucking hot.
Yeah, you better watch out. You're gonna let them out one day and look back there. It's gonna be like 2 little roast turkeys out there. That
burst into flames.
Yeah, burst into flames. Those dogs looking like chicken wings out there. You want to get us some email?
Sure. You really like jonesing to get an email. I'm like filling time here, and you're like, email.
Well, I mean,
let's do email.
No, I got some email here. I just because at this point I want to get to it before we actually sound like we're filling time.
All right.
Let's see.
Email number 1.
I think
round 1.
Go through.
Fight.
Jacob Stone. Jacob Stone says. You know Jacob. Jacob's a good guy, man.
I don't know if I know. The name doesn't sound familiar to me, but let's go.
He says, has there ever been an actor or director that had you looking forward to a particular film because of their involvement, only to leave you disappointed after watching the film? And he named some of his examples. He says, a few of mine are Steven Spielberg with War of the Worlds, Richard Kelly with Southland Tales. And he's like, holy fuck, what a horrible piece of shit. And hey, I couldn't agree with you more. Johnny Depp in Secret Window, and Jack Nicholson in Anger Management.
It happens all the time.
It does happen.
Ever happened? It happens. There are very few people that don't disappoint us. Most recently, I mean, Christian Bale with
Terminator,
yeah, where he was not nearly as good as we were hoping, especially after all the big thing about him getting into character, and it's kind of like he didn't really have much.
Wasn't that it was so amazing that he made this big deal saying, "I don't want to do this movie unless you make." John Connor, a major character, and they just filled in the blanks to write him in, and he had nothing to do in that movie, man.
Yeah, well, that's why you don't get someone like him to play John Connor if he's only a bit role.
Yeah, and I read that question because that is a common occurrence. I mean, these days people work, and you're gonna find them in a project where they're going to not be what you expect them to be. They might have been coming off of a string of great projects. The more look.
Wait, hold on. Let me take that back a step. I said most recently, fucking Transformers 2.
I could use that for a whole lot of things. Yeah.
I mean, because I'm a big Bay fan, and I've never hated a Bay film. Like, I even enjoy Pearl Harbor for the 40 minutes in the middle that are awesome. Because those 40 minutes are fucking awesome. If you just start at the scene when the planes start coming in on Pearl Harbor and turn it off afterwards, you've just seen an excellent reenactment of Pearl Harbor. That's incredible. It's all the love shit that sucks. But Transformers 2, I couldn't walk out. I walked out of that without going, no, there's nothing.
Yeah, no, and I was just gonna make a point out, like any actor. Any director, and I mean, the more you do, the more you're probably going to take the risk of doing something that's going to be a failure, whether it's a commercial failure or whether it is a box office failure or both. So at some point, anybody you love, they're going to continue to work because probably everybody else loves them, and they're going to make that movie that you and nobody else likes, and they're going to turn in a bad performance, and it could be for a number of reasons. Like, for example, Christian Bale, not a bad actor, But in the movie,
He's a great actor.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah, no, that's an understatement. No, great actor. He was lucky to have a number of roles where people really, and he showed that he was intense about his roles. He's one of the finest actors we have today as far as taking the craft seriously. But when you get into something that's not well written, no matter how great of an actor you are, once it's in the hands of the director, the writer, and the editor, it's like you're up to their mercy. So. It happens to everyone at some point. If you're successful.
I mean, it's we get it all the time. I mean, it's such a common occurrence that it's. I mean, you named 4, and God, I could just name hundreds. There's plenty of. There's very few people who haven't disappointed me. In fact, the better question is who's never let you down. And I can't even think of one. For the longest time, I had one, but he eventually did a couple bad ones. Edward Norton. Edward Norton had a hot streak there for a long time where all of his movies were good.
I think you take the risk of, if you work in Hollywood, now some of your independent directors, people who just direct movies outside the Hollywood system, maybe like Jim Jarmusch. I know people who like everything that these guys do, call them fans or whatever, but they only make movies every once in a while. They do it outside of a system that doesn't take as much control away from them. So maybe you have more of a track record with those people being perfect, but it's hard. I mean, and it's hard to make films outside of a place that doesn't fund them too much. But that is a great question right there. Who hasn't let you down? Because I can't think of anybody really.
No, that's one to ponder. It's really who hasn't let you down at some point.
And that might be somebody who made 2 films.
I even want to say Tarantino, but I can't totally say Tarantino because he's done a couple things that I have not. I mean, film-wise, I love Tarantino, but Death Proof is a little lacking. Yeah. And then his CSIs he did were very.
I saw him in a CSI episode. I don't think he needs to act.
Well, no, he directed.
No, I'm saying I saw.
Yeah.
Maybe it might not have been CSI. No, it was not CSI. It was
the Quentin Tarantino where Quentin let me down. Destiny Turns on the Radio.
Where he was an actor in that.
Where he was an actor in that, but they didn't quite let that on. It's Quentin Tarantino in Destiny Turns on the Radio. It's like, whoa, when did Quentin Tarantino have a new movie? We didn't have the internet or anything to look it up. It's like, new movie with Quentin. It's a new Quentin Tarantino movie. And it's like, oh, no, Quentin Tarantino in Destiny Turns on the Radio. And that was not a good movie.
I think Quentin, and I heard it well. I never saw it. But I heard it was pretty bad.
I saw it in the theater opening night.
And he was in another movie where he was acting, and because one of the lines he showed in the trailer was he was being Quentin Tarantino, and he was talking about Top Gun. He was like the gay aspect of Top Gun. He says, "Let me ride your tail." You know what movie that is?
It's called Sleep With Me, and that's famous. That sequence is famous because Quentin Tarantino didn't write that bit. That bit was stolen from his longtime writing partner, Roger Avery. Who that was a bit that he did, and he would do. It was like one of his, we all have our little shticks. Like we've got our bits. Like I've got the Lion King, and if somebody brings up the Lion King, I do my Lion King bit.
Yeah.
And you have that thing where it's prepped and it's meant to be funny, and there's some truth to it, but it's you having fun, and that was his. And Roger Avery had this whole the gay Top Gun thing, and Tarantino, who's really great friends with Eric Stoltz. Eric Stoltz is like, hey, would you be in my movie? I'm directing this film, and it's just a small little thing, and I'd like you to appear at a party being you and doing one of your bits. And so he got there, and he does this brilliant Top Gun thing, and they're like, oh, that's awesome. That's perfect. They put it in the film, and then Roger Avery's like, oh, wait a minute.
Well, I heard that Quentin Tarantino stole a lot from Roger Avery, and that's why they're not friends now.
That's why Roger doesn't talk to him.
Yeah, and
I've talked to Roger about it,
and I can believe that. Did you talk to him while he was in prison? Didn't he go to jail for drunk driving?
He got arrested for it because he was apparently driving intoxicated, and they got into an accident, and it killed one of their passengers.
Yeah, and I was disappointed to hear that.
Well, and so I haven't caught. That's one of those stories that. A bunch of my friends are friends with Roger, and nobody's talked about it. It's something we just don't, because it's one of those, oh, fuck. Because
I know he was about to direct Castle Wolfenstein, and I love that game, and I was like, wow. Oh, he was writing it, and I was like, man.
Roger's a really great guy, and it was one of those things where.
Except when he drinks and kills somebody.
Well, and it wasn't like an angry thing. It was,
No, I know.
They were
Hey,
having a great night, and he
shit
drove
happens,
home,
man.
it happens. And it's, famous people are like normal people, only famous. I mean,
never
they
said
deal with the
anything.
same shit. So
I'm not being judgmental. I'm just
but
cracking
it's
jokes,
one of those
man,
things that I haven't had the heart to look into and follow, and he wasn't a big enough name to warrant it being plastered all over TMZ constantly. So it hasn't been run down my
He's
throat.
probably somebody's bitch right now in prison.
I hope everything's well with him, because he really is. He's one of those really super
We're
nice
gonna write
guys.
a script about us. A
guess-
love story.
Because I spent 3 days with him on the set of Rules of Attraction, and that's how I ended up in that movie.
Well, now you can go-
He's just like, Carlisle, you've been drinking my Dr. Pepper, eating my Krispy Kremes, get in the film. You're playing a bum, and so I got to play, I got to play a panhandling bum at a bus station,
Which is how we found you. So
That's how you found me. I was a method actor.
I was about to say you must have been studying for that role. You want to go to another email here?
Absolutely.
From
Let's go
Alex.
to another email.
Alex says,
Which
this is-
Alex?
Just Alex.
Just Alex.
Just plain Alex.
Guy or a girl?
I think he has.
He.
I'm thinking it is a he, because there's a male in his avatar.
Oh,
So,
well then, all right,
so I'm gonna
Alex.
take a guess, unless it's a girl with just some very wishful thinking. Steve Colbert, I think is his profile here. But anyway,
Oh,
it says, do you see a medium like the short film ever becoming popular in the mainstream movie world to the point of being released in theaters? Now, that's something that where you would automatically want to say no, but the format of the theater, I see it poised to change at some point, and you never know what happens with that. I mean, because like at the Alamo Drafthouse, they show all these fun little bits before a movie starts, so you never know.
No, it's never going to be mainstream. What we might see, we're seeing it this year, and we'll see how it plays. New York, I Love You, which is a kind of a follow-up to Paris Je t'aime, which is loosely translated Paris, I Love You, and where it's 15 to 20 filmmakers making short films about New York. And Paris Je t'aime, which you should definitely see, is a great little thing where a bunch of filmmakers you recognize, these people, and the actors, There's a great one in Paris Je t'aime with why am I blanking on his name all of a sudden? Elijah Wood, where Elijah Wood is an American backpacker in Paris that gets attacked by a vampire. Then there's another great one by the Coen brothers, which it's actually one of the things the Coens have done that I love. That was Steve Buscemi, done in a subway tunnel, and he's an American backpacker. Well, not a backpacker, but a tourist. But there's a bunch of French directors, there's a bunch of English directors, and they all do things, and they're doing a version of that called New York, I Love You, where we're going to see a bunch of short films they're not tied together. There's nothing cute about it. It's just
Well, are they all in one film?
they're all in one film, and we will watch it as singles. No, that's what YouTube is. I mean, that's where what we're seeing is we've finally got a new medium that allows the short film to exist and for people to produce them. I just watched a really great one today that I figure has been out for a while, but I got linked to collegehumor.com and followed the rabbit hole there of catching up on the ones I hadn't seen yet. Someone linked me to a website story, and I was like, oh, all right. But then I found The Matrix runs on Windows. Have you seen that yet?
No. What is
Oh,
it?
it's scenes from The Matrix, except where The Matrix was built around Windows XP. And so
short film.
there's this great little bit at the end where Neo is fighting the Agent Smith.
Now, this is filmed with clips from...
No. They recreate them with actors, and they do a really good job of recreating. I mean, like the Oracle comes out with a tray of chocolate chip cookies, and she's, I hope you have cookies enabled, and little things, bits like that.
So it's kind of like that the Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah.
Or was it? Is that it? George Lucas in Love, where they
where they just kind of have fun with it, and at the end, the entire Matrix blue screens of death, and then a little, the little paperclip guy comes out and goes, "I see you're trying to free humanity. Would you like some help?" And it's it's a funny little thing, but that's the short film has really found its resurgence on the internet, where we want to be entertained for 2 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Tell us a serious story, tell us a funny story, but tell us in short film, and that's a great way to prove your filmmaking prowess. Whereas, up until now, the only way short film directors could exist is doing stuff with music videos. But no, we're never going to see that again at movie theaters, because the model is right now, get them in, get them out, get the new people in. It's a whole cattle car mentality at movie theaters, and show them advertising the whole way so we can make some money out of this.
It's not like the 30s where you went to a movie theater and you just paid for a day. You didn't pay for a movie. You sat there and you paid for a serial, you paid for a short, you paid for a feature.
And then it would recycle again.
And exactly. And you sit there.
And the movie theaters would play for 24 hours. You just buy a ticket and you could sit there as long as you wanted.
Yeah, and there was some that, I don't know, did they all play for 20? Because I know there were some people like
there were a lot that did.
Kids went there and that's what they do. They pay a nickel, go in and they sit in the theater all day and watch all these different things. And it wasn't like you paid for it. Like today we go pay to see Transformers.
And that's why they had things like newsreels and so many animated shorts. And that's how the Three Stooges. That's how they made their fortune, was they would have Three Stooges shorts in there.
No, all those people, Three Stooges, Laurel and Hardy, God damn it, I'm trying to think of some. Anyway, Little Rascals.
The Little Rascals,
yeah,
man.
That's
I was like, come on.
Edgar Kennedy and all that kind of shit.
Thank you.
Yeah. Man, let me tell you something. I just want to pull this up real quick. My mom used to always get on me for being silly. Jump on my ass for like saying just the weirdest things. And the other day she calls me and she's like talking about Michael Jackson, how he died. She's feeling bad about it. And then she just starts laughing. Like she calls me back and she's laughing her ass off. She's like, babe, I'm so sorry. I'm like, are you crying? It's not that bad. Are you serious? Like, no, I'm laughing. Cause they keep coming on the news talking about Michael Jackson sick, Michael Jackson not breathing. And they come back on and say, Michael Jackson is dead. It makes me think about that Eddie Murphy skit from Saturday Night Live. Buckwheat is dead. And my mom would just crack it up.
Yeah, because that was a great bit. Buckwheat has been shot.
Yeah, that's what she's saying. Buckwheat is in the house. Buckwheat is dead. And she was like, it makes me think about that so much. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
That was a really funny bit. Yeah.
Let's see. You want to go to another email here?
No, absolutely not. That was where we peaked.
This is opposite day, and I'm going to take that as a yes.
Oh, fuck. I'm 12 and it's opposite day.
Opposite day. Put your
My
shoes
favorite
on
was
opposite
Fascinated by Gravity Day. That was what we nerds did.
My opposite day, my best day at school was pee in the corner day when I was about 8, and that really got me kicked out for a day. Let's see here, which was the plan.
Hey, why didn't we ever think of Blowjob Day? Because that would have been a day.
I did, and
didn't work out so well.
No, my art teacher was glad to give it to me. No,
yeah, and after 3 martinis, you still had the taste in your mouth.
Let's see here. Here's a question from Spider John, who says, Spider John. He says, I was wondering if you would.
Spider John.
No, that was going through my head.
Spider John. He's gotta pee really bad. Makes his way to the Spider John. Watch out! Don't forget to put down the seat.
That is terrible. That is. Bad.
I'm winging it.
I see.
I'm operating without a net here, people. These jokes, they're live. They're grenades.
No teleprompter. Nothing. Live.
Spider John. Spider John.
John says, I was wondering if you would each name your favorite movies by each of these directors and briefly why. This is a kind of a hard one. I'm looking at it right now. Well, he lists some names.
All right.
John Ford.
Let's go easy and say The Searchers.
No, you know what? No, Tobacco Road. Tobacco Road is because he also did The Grapes of Wrath. Tobacco Road is one of those movies where it dealt with these hicks who were kind of displaced because of, I guess it was the Depression. And Leon and I were watching this. He's the one that turned me on to it. And it's meant to be sort of tragic, but these hillbillies are so hickish and so much like Snuffy Smith or something, or the Beverly Hillbillies before the Beverly Hillbillies came around, that you can't help but laugh at something because they're ignorant, and you laugh at some of the shit that they do. So I guess it's unintentionally funny, but I do like those Depression era movies like Grapes of Wrath and Tobacco Road. And Leon's listening to this and he knows exactly what I'm talking about. He has it on video, like VHS, because we don't know where to find it on DVD. You could probably do it now. But you said The Searchers?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one.
It's the pat answer, but it's John Ford's best.
All right, let's see. Howard Hawks. Fuck.
The Thing from Another World.
Did he do that?
Yeah.
Sergeant York for me.
All right.
With Gary Cooper.
Thing from Another World was always my favorite monster movie as a kid, and I just love it. While I think the remake is substantially better.
So we're talking about the Thing.
The Thing from Another World.
And this is the one with Matt Dillon from Gunsmoke playing the monster. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot.
I had forgotten that little factoid. It's just a classic black and white. It's a vegetable monster. He's a walking carrot from Mars.
But he's in a suit. Like he looks like a guy. He looks like a guy with a latex ball cap on.
But it's a really cool fucking movie. It's set. It really of that era. It really kind of captures that we're stuck at the station and we can't get out, and there's something here. That's a great. It's a really great film.
Have you ever read the Thing though? The actual story?
No, I haven't actually.
You should read that. I mean, given the time that it was written, it's that crazy science fiction that like people were like harping on like this is preposterous. How could you write such filth? Because it was like cows melting and all kind of shit. You should check that out, man. It's a really good story. Sam Raimi. Hey, what am I gonna say? Evil Dead. That's where I discovered Sam Raimi. That's how I discovered Sam Raimi. Evil Dead 2. It's a stock answer, but that is my first exposure to Sam Raimi. I can admire Sam Raimi for things that he did, like the perfect plan, or is that it?
Simple Plan.
A Simple Plan. Yeah, I can admire him for trying to do different things like that, but it all comes back to Evil Dead 2 for me.
I'm gonna go Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2?
I mean, as much I love the Evil Dead series, I love Army of Darkness. They're fun camp. He makes great camp. My close second, Drag Me to Hell. I fucking love the shit out of Drag Me to Hell. I've grown to love it so much, but really those films don't quite touch the perfection of Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is about as perfect a superhero film as you get. It's really up there.
I didn't think it was perfect, but
I said about as perfect. There are a few. It's not what I consider the best one because I think
even more. And I hate to do this, even more than Dark Knight.
No. That's what I said is about as perfect. Okay. Like the Dark Knight is perfect in my estimation, and Iron Man is up there on that list. Recent Incredible Hulk is up there on the list. Even though it didn't really connect with a lot of people, I just love it. I've watched it again a couple times since it's come out, and it's just fantastic. And of course, I really enjoy the Hellboys. I think Del Toro's done a great job with those. But and then of course Superman.
Yeah, I'm with you on. I'm with you on Iron Man. I cannot say Superman is perfect for me. Superman is one of those movies I really wished it was, but the ending I hate.
I just got it on Blu-ray.
And I can watch that movie. It's a great film, man. Don't get me wrong. So if everybody wants to jump on me saying you don't like Superman, no, I love Superman. Yeah, no, that is probably the best theme for a superhero movie.
Yeah, ever. No, it doesn't get any better than John Williams' Superman score.
Okay, he has another one here. Kevin Smith.
Tied.
Clerks and Chasing Amy?
Chasing Amy. Yeah, that's the best film.
Yeah,
no, I mean, someone was mentioning that the other day. They're like, you know what? People are going to disagree with me, but I think Chasing Amy is the best Kevin Smith film. And it's like, what do you mean? Everybody thinks that's the best Kevin Smith film. Yeah, because that is the best Kevin Smith film.
That's the one for me. That's
the one where he managed to divorce himself from himself to make a really great film.
Yeah.
But at the same time, kept all that comedy that worked. That was the film where he had that one great story. And I love Kevin Smith, and I love almost all of his films with a passion. But that's the one that's perfect.
No, that you're right. That is the one. He doesn't try to do this skew of universe, universe or whatever.
It is set in that universe.
It is set in that universe, but he doesn't, like you say, he does not try to stick to that, and he doesn't force it. And it's Kevin Smith.
Because after that, everybody wanted more of that, and so he felt he had to put that stuff in rather than letting it happen naturally, and that one just happened naturally.
That's what it is, Skewniverse. But let's see, Michael Bay, for me, probably one of his most detested films, one of my favorite, I won't even say detested, but one of his least liked movies, The Island, for me. I like that movie a lot. Yeah. I think that's one of his movies with the strongest story, and it's funny because that movie ripped off Kronos, the biological horror, whatever it is.
No, it wasn't Kronos.
Kronos is the Mexican. Not the Spanish film. Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah,
the vampire.
No, you're thinking of Clonus.
Clonus,
the something horror.
Yeah, Clonus. That's it.
Yeah, I've got that on DVD as an episode of
Mystery Science
Mystery
Theater.
Science Theater.
Clonus is not a good movie, but it had a great.
Was it called The Clonus Horror?
The Clonus Horror, yeah. And that movie has a great story, though. It just wasn't executed all that well.
Movie. It's a really bad movie.
It's really and I thought that was a movie that Michael Bay took and made it better. And I liked it. And Bad Boys 2 is following close behind.
I have problems with The Island.
Everybody does.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
except for me apparently.
My problem with The Island was it was such a well written film and it was such a good story that you can feel the point at which Michael Bay just gets annoyed and he's like, I want to get the fuck off this island. Let's get off the island. I want car chases. I want to jump off 37-story building. I want crazy shit to happen. What the fuck? Why are we walking around and talking about bacon? It's like, because that was the good fucking movie, asshole.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I like it, because I see that part.
Favorite Bay, though. That's
Armageddon, isn't that it for you?
No, because, you know what? My absolute favorite?
What?
The Rock.
The Rock. The Rock was good.
The Rock's fucking, that's him at his prime. Because like Armageddon is where he started getting really silly, but The Rock is so much fun, and The Rock is so electric, and even women really dug The Rock. The
Rock was my threshold because they had a car chase and I was like, this is insane. But the rest of it was kind of
it's a good movie. Yeah. There's great stuff in there. And then of course. I'm a big fan of. I think it's a little long in the tooth, but I love it. Bad Boys 2.
That's what. Yeah,
I think Bad Boys 2 has the best Michael Bay sequence ever. That car chase scene.
The corpses flawed out.
No. That's a great chase, but the car chase down in Miami on the highway with the boat.
Yeah.
The audience ducked. The boat came up on the screen. Everyone in the audience ducked down.
Yeah.
Because you were so in the moment. It was so beautifully shot. That is the best car chase scene of the last decade, easily.
I tell people it's not the best, but it's right up there with a very good action comedy. You know, because it's so ridiculous, and Will Smith.
No. Like I said, the best car chase.
Oh no, I know what you're saying. No, I'm just saying for me, it was up there with some of the best action comedies. Because Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are actually working very well together. The action is really intense, and it gets stupid in some parts, but the movie, because it's so funny, it works. It works better than it does in something like Transformers. So, anyway, hey, how about Spike Lee? For me, Malcolm X.
You know what?
An Inside Man.
Bamboozled.
Really?
Yeah, Bamboozled was that was a powerful film for me. I have serious issues with Spike Lee, or I did. I still have. He was a douchebag last year, but. No, my problem with him in the 90s was he made these very strong militant black films where the white guy was always the bad guy. And it was always, it was a role reversal thing, but at the same time, it's very hard to connect with an audience that you're demonizing. And with Bamboozled, that was the film where he said, let me flip it. Let me have the black people be the white people and the white people be the black people. Let me effectively do that. And by flipping it around and then having that beautiful sequence at the end of, just 5 minutes of some of the most famous people in the world doing blackface skits. That was a punch in the gut. And I know a lot of people don't like the film, but that film spoke to me and really hit me in very serious ways.
That movie, I like the message, but a lot of times Spike Lee, for me, gets so wrapped up in his messages that he doesn't present them clearly. He tries to tell too many subplots, too many stories, tries to put too many messages in one movie, which is why I like, I guess you said the movies of Spike Lee. His movies, to me, the best ones are the ones that he did not write, except for Do the Right Thing. And even in Do the Right Thing, Rob De Niro was supposed to be that character of Sal, the pizza owner, and they ended up being Danny Aiello. And Danny Aiello looked at that when he was looking at the script, he's like, I'm a white Italian guy selling pizza in the middle of a black neighborhood, and I'm acting like I hate all these people, like the people. Why am I in this neighborhood selling pizza if I do not have any kind of love for these people, who eventually makes it more powerful when they turn against my pizzeria, and it makes everything, makes a very complex message in the movie. But and Spike Lee even had to change that. So Spike Lee's movies where he writes them aren't really the best to me, but movies like Get on the Bus, Malcolm X, and even Inside Man, which is his mainstream hit, those movies are the ones that worked for me, and especially Malcolm X, because that was the one movie where he really threw his passion behind it, because he really wanted to make that movie before somebody else took it. And at the time, it was very possible that would have been taken by
and
a
he was
studio.
and he was upset that they would give it to a white
Yeah,
man.
and which I agree with him. Now, a lot of people say, how dare Spike Lee say something like, well, a white guy can't direct this. I mean, really? Yeah. Can a white guy? Yeah, they're capable of doing it, but does it mean something if a black director takes it? I think it does mean something more.
Well, it did in the early 90s, especially.
Especially then, with people walking around Africa symbols on and X shirts and X cuts cut into their hair. And at the time, yeah, that meant a lot. And Spike Lee's passion to make that movie is evident in that film, and that's the epic movie that he wanted to make. And I don't think Spike Lee has been as good as Malcolm X since then. But like I say, Inside Man is very close, because that's
Inside Man's great.
Yeah, that's his main. Yeah,
and that's the film where it doesn't feel like a Spike Lee film.
Exactly. He made a mainstream movie, and it shows me, like, this is why I think Spike Lee is one of the greatest directors. But he really needs to either have somebody give him some good material, or he has to take his mind off these heavy
like
messages.
Robert Rodriguez. You know, Robert Rodriguez's problem isn't the messages. Robert Rodriguez's problem is that he doesn't need to write his film. His best stuff are films that other people wrote for him.
I totally agree with that. I agreed wholeheartly.
You know,
with that.
you ask people what's Robert Rodriguez's best film, they all go, Sin City. It's like, yeah, he didn't write that. He didn't change a word. He let Miller onto the set to write extra dialogue for him, and that should have been a sign. It's like, Robert, that's what you need to do. Take other people's words and make them awesome.
Yeah, and I agree with that totally. There are some directors who work better that way. They're not the best writers, but visually they are incredible, even close to being geniuses. So this one's a joke, but I'll throw it out there. I can't answer this because I've never seen it. I've seen anything from this guy, but Uwe Boll.
Uwe Boll, best film or favorite film? He said favorite film, right?
Yes.
I would have to say my favorite film is In the Name of the King. In the Name of the King is fucking funny as shit. That's the one Uwe Boll film where you can laugh your ass off at it because it's just so over the top. It's really great actors in really terrible roles doing really awful things, and you'll howl with laughter at it. His other films are just unwatchable. I mean, they'll just make you angry because House of the Dead is just terrible, and Alone in the Dark is fucking awful. Blood Rain is painful, but Postal only has one funny joke in the whole movie. But this one, oh my God, is it fucking funny as shit? It's so over the top. You gave me that screener, and I've showed it like 4 or 5 times at my house. We bust out the 12 packs and we get drunk and watch that shit and laugh our asses off.
I have yet to see any movie from Uwe Boll or Uwe Boll or whatever. Uwe. I have yet to see one.
Contrary to what you heard. No, I've had my famous encounter with Uwe. He screamed at me for 20 minutes.
I've heard.
That was so fucking funny.
There's a question from Rogue Dragon. We'll end with this one. He says, with the recent crappy Transformer movie directed by Michael Bay, my question is, to you, what is a movie you think could have been better if they didn't have a movie director go apeshit nuts like Michael Bay?
Like I was talking about earlier, Michael Bay is not the main problem with this. I mean, that is a problem.
It's the writing, too. Yeah.
Well, it's the way this film was made. It was put on a schedule when the strike happened. Remember when I went nuts 2 years ago and was just screaming about how terrible the strike is and what it's going to do to us and how we're going to have some very shitty movies come out? This is the biggest casualty. This is one of those big ones. We've had a number of little casualties. We've had a number of great projects that got killed. We had a number of great TV shows. Remember when Heroes was good? Then the strike happened, and then Heroes sucked. Heroes Origins got killed as a result. This is all strike stuff. So I think it's unfair to totally lay this on Bay, but it is his fucking film, and he did make a shitty movie.
No, because he laid on a lot of shit in there.
But to say that
it
stuff was him just going crazy and that's why it sucked is like saying, well, we elected Bush and that's why everything's in the shitter. You know, we can blame it on Bush all we want, but there's like 12 different factors that, all led to his poor leadership, and that's exactly what we have here.
Yeah,
we have the poor leadership of Bay.
I could debate that, but You know what? If you want to talk about somebody that did probably have control over something and was so in love with it that they probably did a little bit of overkill, Peter Jackson with King Kong. I'm looking at that. King Kong, hour and a half movie.
But that didn't
perfect
need
the
to
way
be
it is.
remade to begin with.
It didn't need to be remade, but could it? I mean, I'm thinking, it didn't need to be remade, but given the movie, the movies today with special effects and whatnot, if you're gonna remake it, learn when to pull back because there was a lot of unnecessary things thrown in that film that we did not need.
Well, let's go to Zack Snyder 300, Zack Snyder Watchmen.
Yes,
because both were really great material because he wanted to do a visual adaptation rather than a soulful adaptation. He ended up altering substantially both films, and really with Watchmen, he's like, I can come up with a better ending than this.
I did not mind the ending. I think he did come up with a better ending. My problem with Watchmen, where was Zack Snyder doing things that he did not need to do,
like the going over the top with the violence,
with the violence and the sex.
Yeah,
that scene is like a panel. I think the sex scene in the book.
Yep.
And you're gonna do this slow motion, almost gratuitous way. It's almost like
gratuitous. It was gratuitous.
It was almost like Zack Snyder was watching this with his dick in his hand and just letting it go on. I was like, man, this does not make sense.
That's a perfect example. And then of course, with 300, he wanted to, he wasn't focused on the source material. He was focused on making it visually great. And he and his wife wrote this whole extra 20-minute fucking storyline with the wife that doesn't exist in anywhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's all them. It's him going nuts and doing what he wants to do. And yeah, that's I think both of those films got screwed. Those are the ones that really stick out because I'm so angry about 300. I still bitch about 300 once every few months.
I wasn't that familiar with 300. So I mean, if you were very God damn it, what? It's getting late, man.
In love with the material.
No, okay. I didn't want to say in love. I was going to say if you're very familiar with the material. I don't know why I couldn't get that word familiar. But yeah, if you're very familiar with the material, I understand what you're saying. But because I kind of like 300, but I wasn't exposed to that book before.
Yeah, no, and I can understand a lot of people that watched it and said, how can you not love that movie? That movie's awesome. It's like, because I read the book and I saw a better movie in my head. Because there's a really great story in that book and there's not a really great story in the movie. But yeah, those are the ones that really stick out from this age, where he went crazy and he just went all sorts of nuts. So.
Well, that's the last email, man. We made good time. We actually filled the show. So.
All right. Well, thank you for suffering through us, guys.
It didn't hurt as bad as I thought it would.
All right.
So, all right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.